Good evening.
I wonder if she heard me say that.
Once again, we return to the story of Caius, Spellsword, Dunmer, Eternal Champion, former agent of the Emperor, Initiate to the Blades, Warlock of the Mages Guild, currently looking for a bounty. Now, unfortunately, I'm recording this the day before this is supposed to go live, and so, also because it's very late at night, I am likely going to have a very short broadcast. I'm going to do my best to try and get these extra episodes in recorded at some point, but that hasn't been happening recently. So it seems our best option is to try and find Manamu in the southeast of Pelagiad, so that's where we're heading.
What can I help you with?
Oh, that's unexpected. I didn't realize Discord pops up. It's odd because that used to cause the mods to crash, but I'm still weighted down. It's a bit premature. So I'm pretty sure most of these I'm going to be able to sell.
Should you need something, I will be happy to oblige.
Yeah, well, we've already had a chat with you, obviously. Take a minute to drop off what I've found in Caius Causade's house.
Beneath the Red Mountain, Lord Dagoth sleeps, but when he wakes, we all shall rise, and the dust will blow away. Serve your lord, Dagoth-ur. The sixth house is ridden, and Dagoth is its glory.
You seem like very good company.
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna pick everything up again. I won't do the alchemy just because I know I'm short on time. I'll try and be a little more organized. less neurotic about all this. So normally I would have rearranged the gems, but I actually had to put them in a different spot, so it gives me a chance to collect them properly. The actual reason I came here. So we've got Arcade the Enemy and Darkest Darkness and the Book of the Daedra, so it's only Darkest Darkness that I'm not sure if we already own. Alright, so we can get rid of all of that. Finally. So against my better judgment, I am going to go out a little bit heavier than I normally would. But that's just because I anticipate that I'm going to have some opportunities to sell them. What might be a little wiser would be for me to find some books that I want to read, so I can trade rather than sell.
What is it, Sarah?
Every little bit counts. Alright, so normally I wouldn't do any trades here, but like I said, we're a bit heavy, so oh, hang on, the ebony staff's definitely gotta... That's not something I want to keep carrying around. Alright, slow start, but we'll be in better shape when we...
Beneath Red Mountain, Lord Dagoth sleeps, but when he wakes, we all shall rise, and the dust will blow away. Serve your Lord, Dagoth the sixth house is risen, and Dagoth is the glory.
Sun and sky, Outlander.
I need to stop walking around Belmora at night.
And a fine day to you.
A fine day to you as well.
pleasure. Please, go ahead. I'm all ears.
Huh. The wizard's staff is an ebony staff. Cool.
But Sarah...
Still going at it, huh?
Three blessings, Sarah.
You make a better door than a window, my friend. I should already know the way to Plagiate by now, but I am very nervous about going the wrong way. Now I will admit, I'm actually not 100% sure if there was anything I was going to be doing on my way to Alderaan. I seem to remember that down this path there was an area that I wanted to raid. But obviously I'm a bit overburdened for trying that right now. And we'll take a look at the log when I can. Oh, you know what? It might have been at the end of this too. But for now, I'll head to Plagiate and see if I can figure out exactly where this was. It actually, the instructions southeast of Plagiate makes a lot more sense because if this is supposed to be a base, it's not exactly going to be on a map. It's very scenic. Still waiting for your guy, huh? so I want to be on the lookout, basically, straight ahead. And if it's smugglers, chances are they're going to be by the water in a cave. Not like I really need more heather now that I think of it. So, something like this. Pretty sure all of these are tombs that I've already been in. There's also probably some kind of a marker. Although it could just be out in plain sight like that. I have no wish to do violence to mud crabs if I can avoid it. I just want to see if I can harvest these, There it is.
I have the upper hand.
Do you?
Run or die!
This might be worth something, so I'll bring it for now, but I may not keep it. I'm assuming the silver weapons are worth at least the materials.
You will suffer greatly.
Something tells me I'm a little late getting to this. Target is Dovras Verethi.
Trifled with you long enough. You've lost this round. Ow!
Whatever he cast on me, it wasn't very effective. I would like to check out that lower area, but I hate swimming, and I'm not sure how I get back. These definitely have some value.
The First Hold Revolt by Mavis Kai. You told me that if her brother won, she would be sister to the King of Wayrest, and Remen would want to keep her for the alliance. But her brother Helseth lost and had fled with his mother back to Morrowind, and still Remen had not left her to marry me. Lady Ghislaine took a long, slow drag of the hookah and blew out dragon's breath, so the scent of blossoms perfumed her gilded chamber. You make a very poor advisor, Kale. I might have spent my time romancing the king of Cloudrest or Alinor instead of the wretched royal husband of Queen Morgaya. Kale knew better than to hurt his lady's vanity by the mere suggestion that the king of Firsthold might have come to love his Dunmer queen. Instead, he gave her a few minutes to pause and look over a balcony just over the high cliff palaces of the ancient capital. The moon shone like crystal on the deep sapphire waters of the Abatian Sea. It was ever springtide here, and he could well understand why she would prefer a throne in this land than in Cloudrest or Alinor. Finally he spoke. The people are with you, my lady. They do not relish the idea of Remnan's dark elf heirs ruling the kingdom when he is gone. I wonder, she said calmly. I wonder if as the king would not give up his queen for want of alliances, whether she would give herself up out of fear. Of all the people in Firsthold, who most dislikes the Dunmer influence on the court? Is this a trick question, my lady? Asked Kale. The Trebite monks, of course. Their credo has ever been for pure Altmer bloodlines on Somerset, and among the royal families most of all. My lady, they make very weak allies. I know, said Ghislaine, taking up her hookah again thoughtfully, a smile creeping across her face. Morgaya has seen to it that they have no power. She would have exterminated them altogether had Remen not stopped her for all the good they would do the country folk. What if they found themselves with a very powerful benefactress? One with intimate knowledge of the court of Firsthold, the chief concubine of the king, and all the gold to buy weapons with that her father, the king of Skywatch, could supply. Well armed and with the support of the country people, they would be formidable, nodded Kale. But as your advisor, I must warn you, if you make yourself an active foe of Queen Morgaya, you must play to win. She has inherited much of her mother Queen Baranzaya's intelligence and spirit of vengeance. She will not know that I am her foe until it's too late, shrugged Ghislaine. Go to the Trebite Monastery and bring me Friar Lilum. We must strategize our plan of attack. For 2 weeks, Remen was advised about growing resentment in the countryside from peasants who called Queen Morgaya the Black Queen, but it was nothing that he had not heard before. His attention was on the pirates on the small island off the coast called Callias Lar. They had been more brazen as of late, attacking royal barges in organized raids. To deliver a crushing blow, he ordered the greatest part of his militia to invade the island, an incursion he himself would lead. A few days after Remen left the capital, the revolt of the Trebite monks exploded. The attacks were well coordinated and without warning. The chief of the guards did not wait to be announced, bursting into Morgaya's bedchamber ahead of a flurry of maidservants. My queen, it is a revolution! By contrast, Ghislaine was not asleep when Kale came to deliver the news. She was seated by the window, smoking her hookah and looking at fires far off in the hills. Morgaya is with council, he explained. I am certain they are telling her that the Trebite monks are behind the uprising, and that the revolution will be at the city gates by morning. How large is the revolutionary army in contrast to the remaining royal militia? Asked Ghislaine. The odds are well in our favor, said Kale, though not perhaps as much as we had hoped. The country folk, it seems, like to complain about their queen, but stop short of insurrection. Primarily, the army is composed of the monks themselves and a horde of mercenaries your father's gold bought. In a way of thinking, it is preferable this way. They are more professional and organized than a common mob. Really, they are a true army, complete with a horn section. If that doesn't frighten the Black Queen into abdication, nothing will, smiled Ghislaine, rising from her chair. The poor dear must be beside herself with worry. I must fly to her side and enjoy it. Ghislaine was disappointed when she saw Morgaya come out of the council chambers. Considering that she had been woken from a deep sleep with cries of revolution and spent the last several hours in consultation with her meager general force, she looked beautiful. There was a sparkle of proud defiance in her bright red eyes. My queen, Ghislaine cried, forcing real tears. I came as soon as I heard. Will we all be slaughtered? A distinct possibility, replied Morgaya simply. Jelaine tried to read her, but the expressions of women, especially alien women, were a far greater challenge than those of Altmer men. I hate myself for even thinking to propose this, said Jelaine. But since the cause of their fury is you, perhaps if you were to give them up the throne, they might disperse. Please understand, my queen, I am thinking only of the good of the kingdom and of our own lives. I understand the spirit of your suggestion, smiled Morgaya, and I will take it under advisement. Believe me, I've thought of it myself, but I don't think it will come to that. Have you a plan for defending us? Asked Jelaine, contorting her features into an expression she knew bespoke girlish hope. The king left us several dozen of his royal battle mages, said Morgaya. I think the mob believes that we have nothing but palace guards and a few soldiers to protect us. When they get to the gates, they'll be greeted by a wave of fireballs. I find it highly likely that they will lose heart and retreat. But isn't there some protection that they could be using against such an assault? Asked Jelaine, with her best worried voice. If they do about it, naturally there is, but an unruly mob is unlikely to have mages skilled in the arts of restoration, by which they could shield themselves from the spells, or mysticism, by which they could reflect the spells back onto my battle mages. That would be the worst scenario, but even if they were that well organized enough to have mystics in their ranks, and enough of them to reflect so many spells, it just isn't done. No battlefield commander would advise such a defense during a siege unless he knew precisely what he knew precisely what he was going to be meeting. And then, of course, once the trap is sprung, Morgaya winked, it's too late for a countering spell. A most cunning solution, Your Highness, said Jelaine, honestly impressed. Morgaya excused herself to meet with her battle mages, and Jelaine gave her an embrace. Kael was waiting in the palace garden for his lady. Are there mystics among the mercenaries? She asked quickly. Several, in fact, replied Kael, bewildered by her query. Largely rejects of the psychic order, but they know enough to cast regular spells at the school. We must sneak out of the city gates and tell Friar Lillum to have them cast reflection spells on the front line before they attack, said Jelaine. It's a most irregular battlefield strategy, frowned Kael. I know it is, fool. That's what Morgaya is counting on. There's a gang of battle mages who are going to be waiting on the battlements to greet our army with a barrage of fireballs. Battle mages? I would have thought that King Remen would have brought them with him to fight the pirates. You would have thought that, laughed Jelaine. But then we would be defeated. Now go. Friar Lillum agreed with Kael that it was bizarre, unheard of, to begin a battle casting reflection spells on all one's troops. It went against every tradition. He is a Trebite monk. It went against every tradition, and as a Trebite monk, he valued tradition above every other virtue. There's little other choice, though, given the intelligence. He had few enough healers in the army as it were, and their energies could not be wasted casting resistance spells. At dawn's light, the rebel army was in sight of the gleaming spires of Firsthold. Friar Lillum gathered together every soldier who knew the rudimentary secrets of mysticism, who knew how to tap into the elementary conundrums and knots of the energies of magicka. The fewer masters of the art, their combined force was powerful to behold. A great surge of entangling power washed over the army, crackling, hissing, and infusing all with their ghostly force. When they arrived at the gates, every soldier, even the least imaginative, knew that no spell would touch them for a long time. Friar Lillum watched his army batter the gate with the great satisfaction of a commander who has counteracted an unthinkable attack with an outrageous defense. The smile quickly faded from his face. They were not met at the battlements by mages, but by common archers of the palace guard. As the flaming arrows fell upon the siegers like red rain, the healers ran to help the wounded. Their healing spells reflected off the dying men, one after the other. Chaos ruled as the attackers suddenly found themselves defenseless and began a panicked, unorganized retreat. Friar Lillum himself considered briefly holding his ground before fleeing himself. Later he would send furious notes to Lady Jelaine and Kael, but they were returned. Even his best secret agents within the palace were unable to find their whereabouts. Neither had, as it turns out, much previous experience with torture, and they soon confessed their treachery to the king's satisfaction. Kael was executed, and Jelaine was sent back with escort to her father's court of Skywatch. He is still to find a husband for her. Remen, by contrast, was elected not to take a new royal concubine. The common folk of Firsthold consider this break in the palace protocol to be more of the sinister... The common folk of Firsthold consider this break in palace protocol to be more of the sinister alien influence of the Black Queen, and grumble to all who will listen.
start with the silver dagger, but I have a feeling there'll be a few more clubs before too long. So again, I don't like swimming, but that doesn't mean I'll pass up a chance to enrich myself. Alright, now I'm curious about where. Oh, there it is.
There is no escape. There is no escape.
Mission accomplished. That should start by, that should clean up a little bit of space. Gonna have to clear up more, but alright, so I think we can get rid of some of these more common weapons. Oh, you're kidding me. I'm curious what caused that crash. isn't as dramatic of an opening as I was thinking it would be.
You will die.
So apparently now I'm carrying too much. That doesn't make any sense. Let's lock in the win.
Right. The Wolf Queen, Book 1 by Wagan Jarth, from the pen of the 1st century, 3rd Age sage Montakai. 3rd Era 63. In the autumn tide of the year, Prince Pelagius, son of Prince Uriel, who is the son of the Empress Kintara, who is niece to the great Emperor Tiber Septim, came to the high rock city-state of Camlorn to pay court to the daughter of King Volstead. Her name was Quintilla, the most beauteous princess in all Tamriel, skilled at all the maidenly skills, and an accomplished sorceress. 11 years a widower with a young son named Antiochus, Pelagius arrived at court to find that the city-state was being terrorized by a great demon werewolf. Instead of wooing, Pelagius and Quintilla together went out to save the kingdom. With his sword and her sorcery, the beast was slain, and by the powers of mysticism, Quintilla chained the beast's soul to a gem. Pelagius had the gem made into a ring and married her. But it was said that the soul of the wolf stayed with the couple until the birth of their first child. Sorry, that was the end. Until the birth of their first child. Period. 3rd Era 80. The ambassador from Solitude has arrived, Your Majesty, whispered the steward Balvus. Right in the middle of dinner, muttered the Emperor weakly. Tell him to wait. No, Father, it's important that you see him, said Pelagius, rising. You can't make him wait and then give him bad news. It's undiplomatic. Don't go then. You're much better at diplomacy than I am. We should have all the family here, Emperor Uriel II added, suddenly aware of how few people were present at his dinner table. Where's your mother? Sleeping with the Archpriest of Kinnereth, Pelagius would have said. But he was, as his father said, diplomatic. Instead he said, at prayer. And your brother and sister? Amiel is in Firsthold, meeting with the Archmagister of the Mages Guild. And Galana, though we won't be telling this to the ambassador, of course, is preparing for her wedding to the Duke of Narcissus. Since the ambassador expects her to be marrying his patron, the King of Solitude, instead, we'll tell him that she's at the spa, having a cluster of pestilent boils removed. Tell him that, and he won't press too hard for the marriage, politically expedient though it may be, Pelagius smiled. You know how queasy Nords are about warty women. But dash it, I feel like I should have some family around, so I don't look like some old fool despised by his nearest and dearest, growled the Emperor, correctly suspecting this to be the case. What about your wife? Where's she and the grandchildren? Quintilla's in the nursery with Sepphoris and Magnus. Antiochus is probably whoring around the city, but I don't know where Portema is, probably at her studies. I thought you didn't like children around. I do during meetings with ambassadors in damp staterooms, sighed the Emperor. They lend an air of, I don't know, innocence and civility. Show the blasted ambassador in, he said to Balvus. Potema was bored. It was rainy season in the imperial province, wintertide, and the streets and the gardens of the city were all flooded. She could not remember a time when it was not raining. Had it been only days, or had it been weeks or months since the sun shone? There was no judging of time anymore in the constant flickering of torchlight of the palace, and as Potema walked through the marble and stone hallways, listening to the pelting of the rain, she could think nothing but that she was bored. Asthef, her tutor, would be looking at her for her now. Ordinarily, she did not mind studying. Rote memorization came easily to her. She quizzed herself as she walked down through the empty ballroom. When did Orsinium fall? First Era 980. Who wrote the Tamralian Tractatus? Cozy. When was Tiber Septim born? Second Era 288. Who is the current king of Daggerfall? Morton, son of Gothlir. Who is the current Sylvanar? Varenbeth, son of Varenbil. Who is the warlord of Lymoth? Trick question. It's a lady. Iowa. What will I get if I'm a good girl, and I don't get into any trouble, and my tutor says that I'm an excellent student? Mother and father will renege on their promise to buy me a Daedric katana of my own, saying that they never remembered that promise, and it's far too expensive and dangerous for a girl my age. There were voices coming from the Emperor's stateroom. Her father, her grandfather, and a man with a strange accent, a Nord. Potema moved to stone as she had loosened behind the tapestry and listened in. Let's be frank, Your Imperial Majesty, came the Nord's voice. My sire, the King of Solitude, doesn't care if Princess Galana looked like an orc. He wants an alliance with the Imperial family, and you agreed to give him Galana or give back the millions of gold that he gave you to quell the Khajiit rebellion in Torval. This was an agreement that you swore to honor. I remember no such agreement, came her father's voice. Can you, my liege? There was a mumbling noise that Potema took to be her grandfather, the ancient emperor. Perhaps we should take a walk into my Hall of Records. My mind must be going. The Nord's voice sounded sarcastic. I distinctly remember your seal being placed on the agreement before it was locked away. Of course, I may verily be mistaken. We'll send a page to the hall to get the document you refer to, replied their father's voice, with the cruel, soothing quality he used whenever he was about to break a promise. Potema knew it well. She replaced the loose stone and hurried out of the ballroom. She knew well how slowly the pages walked, and used to running errands for the doddering emperor. She could make it to the Hall of Records in no time at all. The massive ebony door was locked, of course, but she knew what to do. A year ago, she caught her mother's Bosmer maid pilfering some jewelry, and in exchange for her silence, forced the young woman to teach her how to pick locks. Potema pulled 2 pins off her red diamond brooch and slid the first into the first lock, holding her hand steady, and memorizing the pattern of the tumblers and grooves within the mechanism. Each lock had a geography of its own. The lock to the kitchen larder, 6 free tumblers, the frozen 7th, and the counterbolt. She had broken into that just for fun, but if she had been a poisoner, the whole imperial household would be dead by now, she thought, smiling. The lock to her brother Antiochus' secret stash of Khajiit pornography. Just 2 free tumblers and a pathetic poison quill trap easily dismantled with pressure on the counterweight. That had been a profitable score. It was strange that Antiochus, who seemed to have no shame, proved so easy to blackmail. She was, after all, only 12, and the differences between the perversions of the cat people and the perversions of the Cyrodiils seemed pretty academic. Still, Antiochus had to give her the diamond brooch, which she treasured. She'd never been caught. Not when she broke into the Archmage's study and stole his oldest spellbook. Not when she broke into the guest room of the King of Ghislaine and stole his crown the morning before the Magnus's official welcoming ceremony. It had become too easy to torment her family with these little crimes, but here was a document the Emperor wanted for a very important meeting. She would get it first. But this was the hardest lock that she had ever opened. Over and over she massaged the tumblers, gently pushing aside the forked clamp that snatched her at her pins, drumming the counterweights. It nearly took her half a minute to break through the door to the Hall of Records where the Elder Scrolls were housed. The documents were well organized by year, province, and kingdom, and it took Potema only a short while to find the promise of marriage between Uriel Septim II, by the grace of the gods, Emperor of the Holy Cyrodiilic Empire of Tamriel, and his daughter, the Princess Galana, and His Majesty King Mantiarco of Solitude. She grabbed her prize and was out of the hall with the door well locked before the page was even in sight. Back in the ballroom, she loosened the stone and listened eagerly to the conversation within. For a few minutes, the 3 men, the Nord, the Emperor, and her father, just spoke of the weather and some boring diplomatic details. It was the sound of footsteps and a young voice, the page. Your Imperial Majesty, I have searched the Hall of Records and cannot find the document you asked for. There, you see? Came Potema's father's voice. I told you that it didn't exist. But I saw it! The Nord's voice was furious. I was there when my liege and the Emperor signed it. I was there. I hope you aren't doubting the word of my father, the sovereign emperor of all Tamriel. Not when there's now proof that you must have been mistaken? Pelagius's voice was low. Dangerous. Of course not, said the Nord, conceding quickly. What will I tell my king? He used to have no connection with the imperial family, and no gold returned to him as the agreement, as he and I believed the agreement to be? You don't want any bad feelings between the Kingdom of Solitude and us, came the Emperor's voice, rather feeble, but clear enough. What if we offered King Manticaro our granddaughter instead? Potema felt the chill of the room descend on her. The Princess Potema? Is she not too young? Asked the Nord. She's 13 years old, said her father. That's old enough to wed. She'd be an ideal mate for your king, said the Emperor. She is admittedly, from what I see of her, very shy and innocent, but I'm certain that she would quickly grasp the ways of the court. She is, after all, a septim. I think that she would be an excellent Queen of Solitude, not too exciting, but noble. The granddaughter of the Emperor is not as close as his daughter, said the Nord, rather miserably, but I don't see how we can refuse the offer. I will send word to my king. You'll have our leave, said the Emperor, and Potema heard the sound of the Nord leaving the stateroom. Tears streamed down Potema's eyes. She knew the King of Solitude was from her studies, Mantiarco, 62 years old and quite fat, and she knew how far Solitude was, how cold in the northernmost clime. Her father and grandfather were abandoning her to the barbaric Nords. The voices in the room continued talking. Well acted, my boy. Now make sure that you burn that document, said her father. My prince? Asked the page's querulous voice. Querulous voice. The agreement between the Emperor and the King of Solitude, you fool. You don't want its existence known. My prince, I told the truth. I couldn't find the document in the Hall of Records. It seems to be missing. By Lorcan, roared her father. Why is everything in this place always misplaced? Go back to the hall and keep searching until you find it. Potema looked at the document. Millions of gold pieces promised to the Kingdom of Solitude in the event that Princess Galana is not in the event of Princess Galana not marrying the king. She could not bring it to her father, and perhaps as a reward he would... she could bring it to her father, and perhaps as a reward he would not marry her to Mantiarco, or perhaps not. She could blackmail her father and the Emperor with it and make a tidy sum of money, or she could produce it when she became Queen of Solitude to fill her coffers and buy anything that she wanted. More than a Daedric katana, that was for certain. So many possibilities, Potema thought, and she found herself not bored anymore.
Just want to double check that there isn't anything left in these. Did I drop that or pick it up? Drat. So much good stuff. Quite a bit of loot to leave behind, but... Now, I haven't fully explored this area yet. I think I'll take a quick look in here, but I do need to head back and finish the areas that I didn't explore earlier. Yeah.
You will suffer greatly! Stupid!
Oh, right, now I remember why I had spare space. Got rid of a bunch of so I can go back and see if I can get some more of those Dwemer weapons. So no, I probably won't be able to go back and get those because there are too many soul gems. Oh, well, we made the full circuit. Take a minute, we can sell a few things and then maybe visit our special friend.
Hello, guys. I'm Mebistane Ents, and this is the village of Plagiad, a little piece of the Empire right here in the heart of the Dunmer East. Are you looking for someone in particular?
Just trade.
I'm not going to buy that skooma from you. Get rid of that and we can trade.
What skooma? Oh, this is gonna be a pain to find. So I can buy a little bit of everything. Really?
You shouldn't be here.
Just a chance for me to turn some potions into materials. this case, I am going to just sell my potions. Might make more sense. Well, no, now's a good chance for me to get rid of some of the more heavy stuff. I find it hard to believe that's exactly what it needs to be. Okay, I think I can live with that. Maybe we'll try selling off some. Wow. So that halberd actually. I guess it was the ring that. Anyways, I've already messed up the system now, so. No, hang on. To the last Viper Star. You're killing me. I probably did this wrong because I should have saved some of the weapons and armor. I may not be able to sell this guy anything. Yep. That was my blunder. I don't want to sell you the skooma lady. That's all very expensive. Oh, but they do buy potions. This could go wrong, so. So first up, they've got 175 right now. Actually, for this one, I think we need the good old-fashioned Telvanni bug musk.
I haven't seen that before.
Let's make a deal. I hardly even put a dent into my stock. I'm gonna guess you don't want to buy any potions.
If I can be of any assistance, I'll be happy to.
Slightly nervous because that looked like he was drawing his sword.
Doctor. How may I help you?
Alright, it is the middle of the day, but I do need to rest, so.
Ah, it is Anassi's very special friend, Caius. Anassi welcomes you to the hospitality of our house. Yes, my very special friend, Anassi hopes that we will always have things to share. Share a gift, share a care, yes? Close friends. Very close. Anassi hopes you will visit her friend Cyandi and learn many fine tricks. And now it is your turn to give Anassi a gift, and Anassi knows just what she wants. Flowers! Of course, a special friend knows just what flowers to get, so Anassi will tell you. Just two. One for you, one for me. A pretty coda flower for Anassi, and a pretty gold canet for Caius. Anassi can't wait to get her pretty flowers. Anassi has just one care that she wants to share. Anassi hopes that her very special friend will stay close to Anassi and never go away. Anassi worries because Anassi look forward to seeing you so much. But Anassi understands, and Anassi is very busy too. So Anassi is happy when she is busy, and happy when she sees you, and that is enough happiness for anyone. Where are Anassi's pretty flowers? A pretty coda flower for Anassi, and a pretty gold canet for Caius. Anassi can't wait to get her pretty flowers.
Do you have a guest room? already picked all the gold cannets, so now I need to find a place for coda flowers. So I'll take a quick minute at the fort here just to see if I can sell off a few more of these potions.
Greetings. Go ahead.
I think we've been introduced, Outlander. I'm Anne-Marie Charian. How can I help you?
Nobody wants the skooma. Alright, so this might be another one of these cases where I can get away with earning quite a bit.
To what do I owe this pleasure?
I see I've been here before. I'll keep the ones that provide me benefits for now. I'll probably wind up getting rid of them, but right now I just want to get rid of the garbage. Alright, looks like I have some real work to do now. Oh, that's a good day's work. I may or may not be ahead on that because I do know there's a couple of cases where the merchants have wound up with less money after after I buy some of the stuff. They're not going to buy anything I have for them.
I don't think we've been introduced, Outlander. I'm Irving. How can I help you?
Encouraging. Let's see if you'll... Yep, you will buy odds and ends. Okay, let's leave potions aside. Get rid of that, get rid of that. Those I'm keeping. Get rid of soldier. Well, you may not have that much left. That's encouraging. Might have to make some decisions as far as the amulets are concerned. Let's try and go for 1,000. Let's see if we can find enough potions to make this worth it. Yep, not quite. It's close enough. Alright, well, I thought I was going back to Belmora, but I've got the Coda Flower.
Talk, I would consider it a privilege. If I can be of any assistance, I'll be happy to help.
So, Anasi wants her flowers, Anasi gets her flowers. Wait, I do have the gold cannon, right? Yes.
it is Anassi's very special friend, Caius. Anassi welcomes you to the hospitality of her house. I love my pretty coda flower, and I love your pretty gold canet too. So you keep gold canet, yes? And treasure it always. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And now, you can ask Anassi to share a gift again, for it is Anassi's turn. Isn't this fun? Anassi has a secret. Do you know what a flame mirror robe is? Well, Anassi does not, but she knows it is very valuable. And a friend has told Anassi where it is. In the Telvanni Tower in Vivek, at the Telvanni compound. This wizard, Mavon Drenim, he does not wear it, so he keeps it in his clothes closet. Because you are so smart, Anassi knows that you will get this flame mirror robe, and bring it to show Anassi how smart you are. Anassi says it is my turn to give her a gift. She wants just 2 flowers, 1 coda flower for Anassi, and 1 pretty gold canet for me. I brought Anassi here 2 flowers, 1 coda flower for Anassi, and a pretty gold canet for me. Now she says it is my turn again to ask Anassi to share a gift. Anassi says that a friend has told her that the wizard Maven Drenim has a flame mirror robe that he does not wear, but keeps in his clothes closet at the Telvanni Tower of the Telvanni compound in Vivek. Anassi wants me to get this flame mirror robe and show it to her how smart I am.
No more cares, it seems. Alright. Back to Balmora to turn in the bounty. always make the mistake. I should always just know to look for the ruins, but after getting lost that one time, I've become a bit paranoid.
Welcome. Please don't be shy.
Welcome, friend. Hail.
Tell me what's happening with the Rethi gang. I assume you've taken care of it? Good work, Caius. Here's the 1,000 septims from the contract.
Let's talk about advancement.
Talents are noteworthy, but some question the depth of your devotion. Perform more duties for the Fighters Guild and you'll earn your place.
What are the next orders?
There's a dangerous creature loose in Serrano Tomb. A hunger has violated the Serrano Tomb. Go to this tomb, which is over the hills southeast of Fort Moonmoth, between the Ashlands and Lake Amaya, and kill the hunger.
I might remember this hunger.
Beneath the Red Mountain, Lord Dagoth sleeps, but when he wakes, we all shall rise, and the dust will blow away. Serve your Lord Dagoth the sixth house is risen, and Dagoth is its glory.
Wealth beyond measure.
It's not what you said before.
Greetings, Outlander.
And a fine day to you.
Oh, under sun and sky,
With pleasure. Please, go
All
ahead.
right.
I'm all ears.
First things first. I just want to make sure there isn't a special gold cannon, so obviously I will not get rid of the one that was a gift. Gonna have to reorganize this again, unfortunately. because I am starting to feel a bit tired. It's very late when I'm recording this. And I do have work in the morning. So I'm going to drop down the materials. It is possible that I will begin the next episode with alchemy. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about that, but it would not be a bad time to do it. So I do apologize for the shorter episode, but it was that or just not making it at all, and I really didn't want to. I didn't want to ignore doing any episode so short. I don't know. I tend to think a short one's better than none at all. I think it's clear that I've missed out on a few bounties in Balmora. Some by design, some just by failing to take in, failing to explore all my options. So I'm not opposed to taking some time to resolving the last few that I haven't done yet. And once I'm finished those, we can properly go to Alderun. I can practice what I'm gonna do. I will, I'll do any missions that kind of keep me in the general area, and obviously anything that might be at a destination that I already want to go to, such as Alderun. And then when I have something that takes me to a more remote location, I might hold on to that for a longer time. One thing I have learned, though, is there is a benefit to doing some of the missions more speedily, because there are some fighters guilds with people who give quests who don't want to talk to me about quests. It's been a while since I've had a nice full set of samples like this. This is going to take a ton of space. Alright, that's a start. So I think I'll keep the divine intervention. Alright, now we're looking nice and cluttered. And on that note, again, I do apologize for the briefer entry, but I look forward to seeing you next week, and when I can, I'll try and get a few more full episodes recorded.